Halo, selamat pagi semua. Pak, sebentar ya, lagi apa?
Tes. Masuk? Tes 1, 2, 3. Apakah suaranya terdengar?
Sudah terdengar jelas.
Oke, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Salam.
To the second International Conference on Advancement in Data Science, E-Learning and Information Systems 2020. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us guidance, happiness, healthy, and mercy so we can attend and participate in this special event without any obstacle. Praise and salute on our Prophet Muhammad SAW, who had brought us to the path of light from the darkness in this life. It has been great honor for me to be standing here and welcome each and every one of you in this distinguished event as your Master of Ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next few hours, this event will provide you plenty of opportunities to discuss and share knowledge and insight. Before we proceed to the program we have today, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Excellency Director of Telkom University, Professor Dr. Adewijaya, SSE, MSE, Excellency the Representative of Rector of University of Mataram, Mr. Yusran Saadi, ST, MSc, PhD, Excellency Director of University Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, STMT, and Excellent Dean of Fakultas Rekayasa Industri, Dr. Insinyur Agus Ahmad Suhendra, MT. Honorable distinguished speaker, participant, ladies and gentlemen, as the first agenda of today's event, let's stand together singing Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. All blessed participants, let's begin our next agenda this morning by saying a prayer led by Mr. Arik Abdullah, Eskom MCOM. So Mr. Arik, next place is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our head for a moment. Pray to God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala so that our international conference can be precious to all of us. I will lead this prayer based on teaching of Islam, and those who are not Muslim, you are placed to pray according to age of your belief. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamda yu'afi ni'amahu yukafi majida. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wa adimi sultanik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka salamatan fid din wa afiyatan fil jasad, baziyatan fil ilmi wa barakatan fil rizki wa taubatan qoblal maut wa rahmatan indal maut wa maghfiratan ba'dal maut. Allahumma gfir lana wa li walidaina wa li jami'il muslimin wal muslimat wal mu'minin wal mu'minat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat innaka sami'u qaribu mujibu da'wat ya qadiyal hajat. Oh Allah, today, Tuesday, 20 October 2020, in this beautiful place, we gather here to bring about an international conference on advancement in data science, e-learning, and information system, an international conference on industrial electrical and electronic. Make this international conference as a useful science assembly, as a medium for sharing useful idea, knowledge, and experience of scholars, researchers, and students of various disciplines. May the conference we organize today benefit to our life, broaden our knowledge, sense our idea, and lead to us to be successful, productive person, which in turn will boast dignity of our nation. Oh Allah, guide and bless our heart and our mind with the light of your guidance. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities. Help us to speak our mind clearly. Help us to listen to each other, respect each other, love each other, so that we are included to the blessed person. Oh Allah, protect us from unintended temptation, show us the right path, and give us knowledge and strength to perform good things. Equally show us and make it clear the bad things and give us knowledge, strength to avoid them. Oh Allah, you are the one who can fulfill our doa. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Subhana rabbika izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin 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 ya rabbal alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Excellencies, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. For our next agenda, we would like to invite the podium to deliver his welcome speech as Dean of Fakultas Rekayasa Industri, Dr. Insinyur Agus Ahmad Suhendra. The Dr. Agus, time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for Master of Ceremony and the time for me to deliver my opening speech. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greeting to all. Praises be to Allah that Fakultas Rekayasa Industri Telkom University, Fakultas Teknik Universitas Mataram, and Fakultas Teknik Universitas Tirtayasa are organizing the International Conference on Advancement in Data Science, E-Learning, Information System 2020 or Icadeis 2020, and International Conference on Industrial Electrical and Electronic or ICIEE. This year, we are honored to have three distinguished keynote speakers. Professor Jun Seok Hwang from Seoul National University of South Korea, Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fadlina Muhammad Saref from University Putra Malaysia, and Professor Ricardo Eko Indrajit from Apticom Indonesia. We hope that the key sessions and the parallel session will add values to your knowledge and research. The continued support of computational science and engineering researchers has helped Icadeis and ACIEE to become a firmly established forum in Islamic in scientific computing and engineering. These papers come from countries all over the world, including Malaysia, Netherlands, Thailand, Australia, etc., cover areas such as data science, information system, open data government, e-learning, industrial electrical and electronic will be published in IEEE Explore. I'm very grateful to our highly dedicated international steering committee and program committee, administrative board, reviewers, and volunteers for their tremendous support in putting the international conference together successfully. I simply hope that Icadeis and ICIEE has provided a venue for knowledge sharing and established more research collaboration among us. Before I close my speech, I would like to inform you all that in this time we all have agreed that between Fakulti Rekayasa Industri and Fakultas Teknik Unram and Fakultas Teknik Universitas Tirtayasa has agreed to sign MOA, and unfortunately, because this is in the pandemic, so the process of MOA will process after the conference. Thank you for your attention and enjoy with the conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for Dr. Agus for the welcoming speech. Excellencies of distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite to the podium to deliver his welcoming speech as representative of Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering Section Indonesia, Professor Dr. Ang Wisnu Jatmiko. For Professor Wisnu, time and place is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I am first of all Professor Wisnu, representing. Yeah. Assalamualaikum. Is my voice clear? Excuse me, can you hear my voice? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Pak Nur. Ya.
Waalaikumsalam. I think I had a network problem. I'm sorry. I'll repeat again. Assalamualaikum. Good morning. I am representing the IEEE Indonesia Section Executive Committee on behalf of Professor Wisnu Jatmiko. Allow me to thank the committee for this opportunity. Good morning, good afternoon, or maybe good evening. Warm greetings to participants joining this virtual conference. Allow myself to represent the Executive Committee of Indonesia Section IEEE, where I am Vice Secretary. I am honored to be given this opportunity to provide some remarks. To the honorable guest speakers, Professor Richardus Eko Idrajit, Akti from Indonesia, Professor Nurfadlina Muhammad Sharif, University Putra Malaysia, and Professor Jun Seok Huang, Seoul National University, Korea, as well as the presenters and participants of International Conference on Industrial Electrical and Electronics ICIEE 2020 and the International Conference on Advancement in Data Science, E-Learning and Information Systems Icadeis 2020. I wish to thank all of you who have joined this conference. Hopefully you are all in a good and healthy condition. The IEEE Indonesia section currently sees a large number of active members, and conferences technically co-sponsored by IEEE Indonesia section. Last month, Indonesia section received the IEEE Outstanding Membership Recruitment Performance Silver Medal, and we would like to thank this joint conference of ICIEE and Icadeis for their contributions that we believe help support IEEE Indonesia and its members for better collaboration to support the development of the field of electrical and electronics engineering and its related areas in Indonesia. Putting together a conference of this size is not easy, especially during this time of the pandemic. During the current COVID-19 pandemic, there are many areas where technology can help save human lives and also help with the so-called new normal to ensure everyone is safe and healthy. This virtual conference itself is one example of the way to help us stay productive despite the situation caused by the pandemic. Therefore, we hope that although we do not physically meet each other, or although we may not physically experience the hospitality of the hosts, let us try to encourage networking among the participants and speakers. Feel free to talk to each other, have fruitful discussions, and hopefully we can enhance collaboration in the future. Finally, we hope you can join us to make this conference a memorable event. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Wassalam.
Thank you. Thank you for Mr. Astrianur for the welcoming speech. Currently, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite to the podium to deliver his welcoming speech, Rector of University of Mataram, that being represented by Vice Rector in Section of Cooperation Planning and Information System, Mr. Yusran Saadi, ST, MSc, PhD. For Mr. Yusran, time and place is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and maybe good afternoon or good evening for the participant in the other side of the world. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Distinguished guests, directors of university partners, Rector Untirta and Rector Telkom University, participants, invited speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my warm welcome to you all in this very exciting conference. Of course, it is very nice to meet you all, although not in the common way, but in the situation of today, we have to adapt. Surely this international conference will provide an excellent opportunity for sharing knowledge and result in theory, methodology, and application of computer science, especially in the areas of data engineering, e-learning, and information system. Today, as the mentioned before, we experience situation which force us to adopt e-learning method in teaching and learning process due to pandemic COVID-19. Our society acknowledge that many educational institutions are not fully prepared in dealing with the current situation. Less capable systems are unexpectedly collapsed, and we are in the process of searching for a new norm. Therefore, finding prospective partners to adapt to the new development is certainly necessary. I noticed that the aim of the conference is to provide a platform to researchers and practitioners from both academia as well as industry to meet and share cutting-edge development in the field of computer science and engineering. Through the conference theme of Data and Digital Innovation towards Satu Data Indonesia, we can expect that developments in digital innovation and the availability of large-scale data set create opportunities for new economic activities and new ways of delivering services with a considerable efficiency. While some group of people are still raising concern about privacy, data and digital innovation are important factors in driving economic growth. Data and digital innovation can also improve the accountability of government to citizens and offer more digitally enabled services. I think intense interest from participants who will be presenting papers on new research finding in the chosen field is a clear signal that there will be a positive impact from this event. It is expected that the conference will create open collaboration system which allow the enhancement of data analysis as well as disseminating or leveraging the data for many applications. The collaboration that means seeking external organization to create partnership and alliances, allow co-sharing information and R&D sources to gather the potential of existing knowledge to finally configure the innovation at a larger scale. We have to take this exciting occasion forward to make it beneficial in the development of the nation. I believe this event can generate discussion and turn it into real works, as in this modern era, there is a strong emphasis on putting policy into practice. I am also very glad that the MOU between Universitas Mataram and university partners has been brought forward by the signing of MOA as scheduled in this two-day conference. Well, I remember that the MOU with, for example, Telkom University had been signed last year, and today the signing of MOA will be excellent for our future collaboration. I do hope that MOU and MOA between other parties which take part in this conference will follow suit. Finally, I would like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to organizers, university partners, keynote speakers, and also to the sponsors who contribute to this event. To all participants who have come from different countries, I would like to extend my very warm welcome to this conference. I wish you all have a productive and fruitful discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for Mr. Yusron for the welcoming speech. Excellency, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite to the podium to deliver his welcoming speech as Rector of University Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, STMT. For Professor Fatah, time and place is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Good morning all. The Excellencies Profesor Dr. Adi Wijaya, SSI, MSI, Rektor Telkom University. Profesor Dr. Lalu Husni, SHM Hum, Rektor University Mataram. Profesor Dr. Wisnu Jatmiko, STMkom, Chair of IEEE Indonesia Section. Profesor Dr. Engineering Asep Ridwan MT, Dean of Faculty of Engineering, University of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa. Distinguished keynote speakers, Professor Richardius Eko Indrajit from Aptikom Indonesia, Professor Jun Seok Hwang from Seoul National University, South of Korea, Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fadila Muhammad Sarif from University Putra Malaysia, distinguished presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second International Conference on Industrial, Electrical and Electronics 2020. I, on behalf of Universitas Sultan Ageng Titayasa, proudly present this ICIEE 2020. Despite today's an unprecedented situation of COVID-19 pandemic, it is proof that our university, Universitas Sultan Ageng Titayasa, remains proactive to knowledge as one of the solutions for not only industry, but also humanity. This pandemic has lost, but not spirit to Untirta has come up with solutions to always implement three principles of higher education. Distinguished guests, keynote speakers, and presenters, this year, the second ICIEE in conjunction with the ICADIS 2020, held by the Information System Department, Telkom University, and Informatic Engineering, Universitas Mataram. This event is an example of a real implementation of our Memorandum of Understanding between Untirta and Telkom University. In addition to that, our hope through this joint conference, we can gain some insights on the implementation of Campus Merdeka policy. In today's Industrial Revolution 4.0, we should be able to solve complex problems, develop our collaboration skills, and think creatively. Today's technology is not only invented to assist human needs every day, it also must be sustainable and flexible. Let me give you an example. Fingerprint absence record in industry was previously useful to record employees' attendance record so that the human resource development can take the record easily. Untirta now has implemented an information system based on the GPS tag and time record through every electronic device, such as smartphone, tablet, or personal computer, 4 times a day. All employees must record their presence through the system. This technology is simple but very useful. Most importantly, this is safe from COVID-19 spread. Distinguished guests, I hope that this joint conference can be a place for you to get valuable knowledge and experience. Besides, I hope all of us enjoy this event and continue to strengthen our collaboration, friendship, and scientific exchange to bring benefits for industries and other related institutions in the future. Finally, I would like to thank for the speakers, presenters, and reviewers for your participation and hard work. And special thanks to the committee that has made this international conference to happen. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Professor Fatah for the welcoming speech. Next, Excellency, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite to the podium to deliver his welcoming speech as Rector of Telkom University, Professor Dr. Adi Wijaya, SSE, MSc, and afterward, we would like to request the Rector of Telkom University to officially open Icadeis and ICIEE. Professor Adi Wijaya, time and place is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. and greetings to all. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Fakultas Rekayasa Industri Telkom University, Fakultas Teknik Mataram University, and Fakultas Teknik Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University have made collaboration to organize the International Conference on Advancement in Data Science, E-Learning, and Information System 2020, and International Conference on Industrial, Electrical, and Electronics. The main goals of Icadeis and ICIEE are to provide an opportunity for academicians, engineers, scientists, researchers, industrial professionals, and students from around the world to network and discuss about the latest development in data science, e-learning, and information system, also in industrial, electrical, and electronic fields. It provides a valuable opportunity to all participants to exchange their ideas in the scientific and engineering field as well. This opportunity to organize is such a good privilege to promote our faculty globally. In addition, it shows how much our faculty committed in exploring the research and computing, industrial, electrical, and electronics technology and innovation. I would like to thank the keynote speakers and the presenter for contributing papers, and I would like to thank and congratulate to all committee members for organizing this international conference. To all participants, I hope by this conference will strengthen our research collaboration and may effort brilliant ideas in the field of computing, technology, industrial, electrical, and electronics, and innovations. By saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, this conference has officially opened. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for Professor Adiwijaya for the welcoming speech and officially opened our event today. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now we came to our main program, culinary session. It will be led by our moderator, Dr. Ing Muhammad Imam Santoso, MSc. First of all, allow me to introduce you to our moderator, Dr. Ing Muhammad Imam Santoso, MSc. Dr. Imam Santoso was born in Pekalongan on 1977. His hobbies including reading, writing, and programming. He also loved playing chess. Dr. Imam Santoso was married with one son. His current occupation is researcher coordinator at LPPM Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University. His academic qualifications are: he went to Polytechnic of Diponegoro University to finish his college, and his field of interest is electrical engineering. Then he went to pursue his bachelor degree in the same field at Diponegoro University. After that, he pursued not only his master degree but also his doctoral in Germany. He got his master degree on field of computer engineering at Universität Duisburg-Essen, Germany, and his doctoral degree on field of intelligent transport and tracking system and logistics at also Universität Duisburg-Essen, Germany. His research interests are including big data, Internet of Things, mobile apps, IT logistics, and geographic information systems. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome our moderator for today's event, Dr. Imam Santoso.
Thank you very much. Good morning, fellow scientists, the university leaders, the distinguished faculty members, and as well as the excellent participants along the world, and ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to our Icadeis and ICIEE 2020 plenary session. in this session, we will have three speakers. The first speakers would be Professor Dr. R. Eko Indrajit, MSc. He will represent from Apticom. And then the second one is Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fadlina Muhammad Sarif from the University Putra, Malaysia. And then the third one is Professor Jun Seok Wang from University National of Seoul. Okay, without further ado, let me call the first keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Insinyur R. Eko Indrajit, MSc. But before he speak, let me first read his curriculum vitae. So Professor R. Eko Indrajit is represent the Indonesian Association of Computer University, Apticom, and he has a numerous career in as a senior consultant in several prominent companies such as Pricewaterhouse of Indonesia, and then Bangun Nusantara, Gemini Consulting, Renaissance Indonesia, and Jakarta Consulting Group, etc. He also has a lecturer career in several universities, especially in Perbanas School of Information Systems, who appointed him as a chairman. And he also assigned as a research director of Swiss German University. And then in the governmental body, he also president of Association Higher Education Learning Institution in Computing and Information Technology Studies. And then he also Secretary General of National Auditing Board, Chairman of ID CIRTII, Indonesian Security Incident Response Team on Internet Infrastructure, and the Board of National Education and Standard, the Board of Indonesian Professional Certification Authority, and the Board of National Research Council. His educational background was a computer engineer, first education in Surabaya Institute of Technology for the bachelor degree, and then several master degree in applied computer science at Harvard University, USA, business administration from Leicester University, and then Master of Communication from London School Public Relations, and also Master of Philosophy from Maastricht School of Management, the Netherlands. He holds a PhD degree from the city of Manila University. He published more than 30 books and hundreds of national journals in the area of business management and information technology. Okay, Professor Indrajit, I will give you 30 minutes for your presentation, and the time is yours. Please.
Thank you, Pak Santoso. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to share with you my presentation for today with the topic of e-learning in the future. Mr. Moderator, I haven't had a permission to share my presentation. It's still disabled in
I
my
think
web.
the technician will help you. Might be
Yeah, please.
they will share the PowerPoint that you have delivered.
I haven't delivered yet because they said that I will share it from my
Okay, please
from my
make
side.
the Professor Indrajit as a co-host.
Yeah, can I become a co-host?
Yeah.
Just for the 30 minutes so I can share my view. Okay, while waiting the permission for me to share my presentation. Okay, great. Still disabled.
Technician, please.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it takes time. Usually WebEx takes time for me to be still disabled. But it's okay if I cannot present my presentation. So I just want to share you several important things. My presentation is about what is the e-learning in the future. E-learnings becomes the common jargon right now because everybody is doing it due to the catastrophe of pandemic COVID-19. So for some reason, everybody in the world is forced to embrace, to adopt it e-learning without any preparation. But I told to my colleague in a positive way. I said to them, let's move on to the next journey. I said to them that the future is coming earlier. Indonesia is predicted before that they will embrace e-learning in 2030 massively. But due to the pandemic situation, suddenly the futures came earlier in March 2020. Everybody is using
Professor, you have
e-learning.
become co-host.
Yes. Yeah, I become a co-host, but in my menu, it's still disabled for sharing. I don't know why. Maybe the co-host have to change it. In my window, it's still disabled for sharing. Or I send it to Pangoro right now, my presentation, just to help you to do it from the other part.
Wait.
It's quite strange. It's already become a cohort, but it's still disabled in my side. Maybe I have to log out and log in again. But okay, give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. So I will share it to the committee. Yeah, I share it to the committee. Pak Anggoro, can you help me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I share it with you right now, my presentation, because I prepare special presentation for all of you, especially in the research of e-learning in the futures. Yes, I'm sending it now. I hope you already receive it. It will be received pretty fast. Okay. Yeah, I send it to the committee and let's see what happens because in my system is still disabled for sharing, although I already become the co-host. Okay, now because everybody right now adopting e-learning, they get exposure more than before. Full e-learning practices are adopted massively right now. And if somebody asks me, what will be the future of e-learning, or at least what will be the education looks like during the new normal, 90% agree that it will be a blended learning instead. But the blended learning is not just blending it the online and offline system, but also you are blending the synchronous and asynchronous system. Now, the question is, after new normal, what will be the e-learnings looks like? I'm doing a small research on the educational technology, especially trying to investigate what other research center is doing for the next 10 to 20 years. My conclusion is assuming that everybody has mastered the e-learning as the modern approach of conducting education, what will be the next shape of technology that will create other disruption? There will be 8 research domain. Yeah, I repeat, there will be 8 research domain. By the way, Pak Agono sudah mendapatkan? Did you get my presentation already?
Already, sir.
Yeah, I said it already. Can you help me from your side? Because I cannot still share mine. The eighth domain of the research, thank you so much, Mangoro. Can you jump to the number 4, presentation number 4? Presentation number 4, yeah, this one. Can you make it a full presentation, please? Next slide. Next slide. Okay, this one. So this is my my framework that I'm doing it with my colleague. There are 8 e-learning or 8 educational technology focus to create the new environment of e-learning in the futures. First one relate to the learning environment, and then learning resource, and then learning process, learning pedagogy, learning tool, learning space, learning management, and learning agent. Those 8 domains become the most common research most of the scholars in the educational technology is doing nowadays. Some of them using the paradigm or the psychology paradigm of behaviorism, some of them using the cognitive constructivism, and the newest one was the humanism and cybernetism. And the research are vary from the very theoretical research up to the application. And I will go one by one what kind of the research they are trying to do with regard to this 8 domain. Maybe some of you are interested in learning this into a more deep issues. Next slide, please. The first one is the learning environment. What are they trying to do in the learning environment research? As we know, in the conventional approach, we go to the classroom physically where the educators and the participants of the educators meets to conduct learning and instructional process. But due to the several situations like globalization or the pandemic or the other future threat of the human being, they are trying to create a totally virtual learning environment where there were no physical uh, attached between the educators and the participants. They are research on the virtual school, on virtual reality, or using the spatial glasses for 3Ds, for the augmented reality, or they create the smart classroom. But learning environment focus is trying to create a new arena, a new virtual space to make people learning at the same time. They are using the approach of gamification on this matter. I heard that even PlayStation also is trying to launch the product where students can learn through the game console. So they create the avatar of themselves and they will meet their teachers or their friends through the learning environment virtually. There is the first research domain. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The second one is learning resource. If we go to our traditional or conventional classroom, we still use the traditional blackboard, whiteboard, yeah, and then the books, yeah, and all kind of stuff. Right now, learning resource based on the digital or based on the electronic devices are very common. Electronic materials, for examples. They are trying to create the e-papers like what MIT did. The augmented reality are here to stay. That helps the K-12 students and even the college students to make learning more effective. Some of them I see in the big cities of Indonesia, especially in the international schools and in some prominent school, they already apply the smart boards and smart table for the children. So they throw away the blackboard, the whiteboard, yeah, even the table, and they replace it with a smart board, with a smart table, and also books. Some of the schools already throw away the books and replace it into electronic books and electronic tablet. Consists of all books they require to study. This is the second domain. Next slide, please. The third domain related to the learning process. If you go to the medical school, for example, the doctors start to implement the telepresence for telesurgery. It means while the doctors conducting the real surgery, the students can participate in the situation room. Also, several synchronous interaction like we did today. They come into more advanced by introducing more and more features that can be used by learners. Blended learnings will be the name of the game for the new normal of the process. We will not go back to the past day where 100% conducted by physical interaction and collaboration learning inter institution inter-university become a common ground of every learning. So the schools are connected to each other, the campus are connected to each other, and they will share their learning process. That's number three. Next slide. The next one is learning pedagogy. Indonesia, for example, the Minister of Education and Cultures already shift our compass from content-based learning into the outcome-based learning. Why? It's simply because most of the content that should be learned already in the internet. So we have to change the way we teach. We have to change the way we interact with students. Digital pedagogy, cyber pedagogy are the example of the new enabling or emerging technology, emerging pedagogy that we have to introduce to our educators. The more authentic learning, yeah, using a serious games, simulation, and independent learning have become the rules of the game right now. E-learning means you go toward the student-centered learning. So by using independent learning approach, supported by serious games and tools, with the context of authentic learning, the learning pedagogy will be shifted. Next slide. The next one is learning tools. Smart devices, gadget, not just for all common students, but also for special needs students, already developed, already designed, and sold it in the market. So students can learn everywhere through the concept of ubiquitous learning. So various of learning tools are there in the market to replace books, to replace the physical artifacts, and also to replace the blackboard or smartboard. The next slide. And then learning space. The learning space is the traditional website that will be merged. How to create learning through the social media networks. How the open education and open educational resources become a common platform for every school and every campus. How the learning management system will open their API to connect to each other. So we are talking about integrated learning management system, not just internally in one institution, but connected from one institution to another because of the open education paradigm. They share resource, they share the educators, they share best practices, they share the assignments, and the most thing they share knowledge. That's how the learning management system evolve and revolve from one time to another time. And the next one is, next slide please, learning management. The way they conduct the learning management will be different in the futures. We can learn from any person. The formal education, non-formal education, and informal education will converge. We will not differentiate which one is the formal, which one is informal, which one is non-formal, because everything converges into one. And who will manage the learning? It will be the learners themselves, not the institution, not the company, not even the education schools, but the participant will create their own management of learning. Next slide, please. And last but not least is learning agent. Virtual teacher, the hologram of the teachers, the robot that replaces the functional of the teacher assistant, for example. The advance of the artificial intelligence and machine learning are very promising. It's not to replace teachers, but to make teachers exist in many environments. What does it mean? It means that we can learn from any other teacher around the world because they will be here in our classroom by using the hologram, for example, or virtual teacher. Wherever they go, we can become their students. Even the robotics for teaching us in the laboratory are there to help us. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the 8 areas, the 8 domains that will change the way we conducted learning and education. And if we put all 8 trends into one big framework, I create a special framework for you. Next slide, which is my last slide, is the framework for research, a framework for if somebody wants to go deep on that area. This is the most common research in the area of educational technology that will shape the future of e-learning, at least to the year of 2030. It relates to the learning environment, learning resource, learning process, learning pedagogy, learning tool, learning space, learning management, and learning agent. With this light slide, I thank you for the opportunity and wish you luck for all of the thing today, for all of your presentation. I hope your paper will be the one that shape the future of education, especially in Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Indrajit. Very nice presentation of 8 kinds of learning research domains and completed by the framework of educational technology in the field of e-learning. For the next keynote speakers, I would like to call Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fadlina Muhammad Sharif. But let me read her CV first. Associate Professor Dr. Nur Fadlina Muhammad Sharif is a Deputy Director of Innovation in Teaching and Learning Center for Academic Development in the University Putra Malaysia from July 2018 until now. She is Associate Professor in Department of Computer Science, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, University Putra Malaysia since 2016. And Senior Lecturer in the Department of Computer Science, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology in the University Putra Malaysia from November 2010 and until June 2016. Her education started from University of Kebangsaan Malaysia for the bachelor degree and then continued to the master degree in the software of engineering at the University Putra Malaysia, and finally she got a PhD title from University of Bristol, United Kingdom. She has a lot of experience in data science, especially sentiment analysis, deep learning, multiple object particle swarm optimization, and chatbot. She also research on multi-channel based transfer learning model. Next. Oh, finish. Okay, Professor Nur Fadlina.
Yes.
I give you 30 minutes for the presentation and the time is yours, please.
Right. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I would like to bid good morning to everybody. Thank you also to the Telkom University and Icadeis for inviting me. Give me a minute. Yes. Going to locate my slide. Oh, okay. The slide is already there. Okay. So I don't need to share, is it? This is not my first slide. Can you please flick to my first slide? Do you mind? Right. Okay. Thank you. I was very inspired to come up with this title, Becoming a Super Educator, and the quest of artificial intelligence in personalizing learning. Next, please. So today I am going to, next, please. Right. My name is Nur Fadlina Muhammad Sharif from the University Putra Malaysia, Malaysia. My research interest is as described earlier by the MC. Next. Today I'm going to share my talk with this flow. To start with personalized learning, then artificial intelligence, then some works I've done on learning analytics and the way forward. Next. When I came out with the word super educator, I never thought that the term actually exists, and then people have coined it and even branded things out from this. Well, we can proudly say that I teach. That's my superpower. So in the context of e-learning and educator, the mindset of being a super educator is very good. But if you look at the right side, being a super teacher by the day, but at night you end up being very super tired,
because sometimes being a super educator is simply very overwhelming. Look at, I believe many of you here are educators. We want to give the best to our students. So personalized learning, next, personalized learning is one of the forever dream of an educator, to be able to give the best to their students, to be able to give, to increase better learning experience from time to time. But personalized learning is actually not just for the students to get benefit. It is also to teach the teachers to be able to come out with a recommended preference based on the recommended preferences and competencies, able to come up with a learner-centered design content, and then the relevant and surprisingly content. So imagine this personalized learning is similar to the recommendation system. You get something is specially tailored for you. There is this set of standard teaching plan available for everybody, but I have something tailor-made just for me. And if I go through this, I will get the best, the optimized achievement from my learning. Next, so that is the personalized learning concept. This is to illustrate how personalization from the concept of e-commerce applicable in personalized learning. One of my research areas is a recommendation system, and this is how Amazon and Facebook have been recommending items to their customers. So imagine we are having different profile of students or even customers, and different content should be delivered to them, and even different means and different times according to their needs. Next. Right. There are many approaches or techniques for personalized learning. Maybe you have come across these terms: adaptive learning, individualized learning, differentiated learning, and competence-based learning. So these are a mix of technology, approaches, and also adjustment to the needs of the individual students. Next. Right. Before we go further, maybe you want to know what is the behind, what is the system approach, because this is a conference on data analytics. So I highlight from the perspective of computer-driven adaptive learning. So adaptive learning, the word itself tells its meaning. Adaptive means adjustable, auto-adjustable. Adaptive learning approaches such as in the intelligent tutoring system has been existed and assure that all learners get the material they need. But it is still fallen short in cultivating full engagement with individual students, and this is where personalized learning takes the next step. So what is the difference between the full adaptive learning and personalization algorithm? Personalization algorithm is something that influences what you've chosen yesterday, what you choose today, and what you'll be choosing tomorrow. We nowadays rely very much on AI, and AI is going to impact education, not going to be happening in a very near future. Next. In this slide, I am trying to show you the comparison between the Gartner hype cycle for emerging technologies in 2019 and 2020. Well, the images can be quite small, but if you can focus on the boxes that I have colored here, we can see on the left side the 2019, the personification, the explainable AI, and then adaptive ML. We also have graph analysis there and emotion AI. So all these actually relate to the technology that can enable learning analytics to achieve its personalized learning to achieve its full potential. Look at the 2020 emerging technologies. Here, the focus is more on multi-experience and explainable AI again. So imagine we have a huge, the humongous size of data. The AI is behind, but what does it mean? In learning analytics, there is a huge gap. You will see further in my coming slides that there is a huge gap from the technologists, the computer scientist perspective, and the educationist perspectives, because sometimes the output that we produce cannot be understood by the educationist and cannot be put into good purpose. Next. This is known as the Doctor Who of AI in education, Professor Rose Lucky. So I wish to quote that she said, the real power that AI brings to education is connecting our learning intelligently to make us smarter. So this is going to erase all the negative thoughts saying that the AI is going to replace lecturers or teachers or tutors. Actually, it's not true. AI is actually just a technology, a tool that can be utilized or leveraged to complement the good service by the human. Next. This is to show you the difference between the AI types from the narrow intelligence, general intelligence, and super intelligence. Nowadays, even the best algorithm, the Watson algorithm, or even the DeepMind algorithm by Google is still based on the narrow intelligence. We are still far away from the general intelligence and super intelligence, but let me mind you, even if that happens, the most important will still be humanity and emotion. Next. Right, intelligence. Well, we have been talking a lot about intelligence, artificial intelligence, but how to differentiate something which is intelligent or not. So these are the criteria of intelligence, something that has the ability of linguistic intelligence, perception, problem solving, learning, and reasoning. So when we're looking at an application which is deemed as AI based, so we need to look into this criteria. That is also one of the reason why the voice recognition based application, the Siri, and even nowadays we have auto translation application being used largely because people can benefit from this. Next. Right. Um, Back to Professor Rose Luckin's work in 2016. She released a book, previous please. She released a book on Intelligence Unleashed, an Argument for AI in Education. This was in 2016. And if you look on the right side, you can see this is the model-based adaptive tutor. So at this time, we are still relying on the adaptive-based tutor where it relies to a lot of rules and actually not true personalization that is adaptive to each person is enabled. Next. This slide is to tell you more deeper about rules-based personalization. It is human-derived, it is static-based, it is static recommendation, limited routes, and can be regarded as standard clothes sizing. So this is about telling that we as a person, we explicitly program the application to be able to customize the route of learning for each person. So in the context of personalized learning, adaptive-based approach comes out with pre-planned route rather than adjustable or auto adaptive recommendation. Next. Brightspace is an application claimed to be personalized learning LMS. But if you look at the functions I highlighted here, especially on the right, the most right, this shows that Brightspace focuses on providing timely and personalized feedback. But this personalized feedback is still just to trigger the educator to have a good template and to be able to tune what response to give to their students. So again, it is not fully assimilating the AI into the learning. Next. The challenges. So again, I'm trying to highlight all the gaps in the personalization, personalized learning. What are the gaps? We can see now, despite having a huge supercomputer, it is still considered slow to process all the algorithms and systems, especially to understand the people itself, because people are so complex. Our mood change all the time. Our needs change all the time. Our preferences change. Sometimes we are very influenced with what our friends are recommending. sometimes we depend on the community, the whole community in the learning community to get influence and to follow certain recommendation. So among the challenge of personalization algorithm to become very intelligently adaptive would be to be able to differentiate between a good feedback, a good data to learn, whether this is something that we need to learn to personalize, and putting aside from that, there is another problem, which user will not be able to indicate what they actually want to express. Next. Right, depersonalization gaps. Again, problem. Next. Data. We say that the environment only has limited data about the user. The action, the desired action versus the provided functions. Sometimes you are unhappy, but there is no way for us to indicate it. The computing system is still slow. Next. The content is still having limited resources. The interests are conflicting, whether the system should prioritize the interests of the user, the platform, or the third party. So all these are issues that relates to the e-commerce, the information system, the data analytics, user interface, visualization, and even in the among the educationists themselves. Out of these five, there is something more that we need to cater, which is the discovery paradox. Whether it is time for the algorithm to recommend something new, that there is shift in the needs or there is shift in the trend. So all this require very high intelligence. Next. Okay, so that was the first part of my presentation talking about the AI and also personalization. Now I want to pull you into learning analytics, which can be defined by the measurement, the collection, analysis, and reporting of data about learners. I've talked so much about the challenges on personalization, but I've talked about the data on learning is available. We can always go through the learning management system and get data about the access, the students' logs, and the expression of the students towards each lesson that they have gone through, and also their teaching evaluation, the teaching assessment. So all these data can be analyzed to discover more about the students. Next. The types. Lately, people have also introduced another types of analytics, the diagnostic analytics, but in my figure, I just share you three types. The descriptive types, what has already happened. So this focuses on knowing what has been visualizing the existing patterns and looking at minimal trends. Diagnostics, not in my slide, diagnostics highlight about the correlation and also testing some hypotheses and wanting to find out the possible reason to trigger for deeper analysis. Predictive, to identify who could be at risk. So this is very useful for us to attend and to execute intervention action. As for prescriptive, for the human to be guided on what would be the recommended action. Should we attend to the needs of the student? Would actually the students have problems in assessing the materials or understanding materials which are all just in PDF? Maybe they can learn better if they have a mix of video and also PDF until that scrutiny. Next. This is an example of quite a recent paper using learning analytics to develop early warning system. What I'm trying to show you here is that this paper is from the aspect of computer science and published in International Journal of Educational Technology in Higher Education. The paper focuses on the algorithms and features to best predict the performance of the students. Next. Meanwhile, this one shows examples of learning analytic dashboard. So these are the my three benchmark software, Learner Script, the IntelliBoard. So these two are Moodle available as Moodle plugin, and also decisive data beside the Brightspace application presented earlier. Next. So if we look back at the slides just now, we can see many kinds of data being represented. So the trends of works published in the learning analytics is increasing if you look at figure 1. However, if you look at figure 2, still the ratio between the computer science and the recipient of the technology are very hugely departed. So this indicates a huge gap between the scientists, the technologists, and also the educationists. For us to be able to make AI absorb properly and also usefully into learning or even education is for us to blend these groups to be able to work together. Next. Putting aside all those concerns, what about the students? What do students actually want? So if you look at this, the students relate to the dashboard contents now. Students just mostly need to know comparison with fellow students, get further learning recommendations, prompts for self-assessments, and all of this. But whether the existing dashboards and existing solutions really address on this? So still many concerns to be addressed in learning analytics and personalization. Next. Yes? Am I going over time?
No, no, we still have plenty much of time.
All right. I tend to speak very fast. Here, I would like to share my current work, which I will be sharing more elaborately in my proceeding presentation slot this afternoon. A work which is entitled ISPRO, or in full, Intelligence Simulator for Personalized Learning. So behind this application that we are proposing, this work is a combination among 4 other universities in Malaysia, and it is funded by the Ministry of Higher Education. So this work is about trying to explore 3 kinds of technologies for learning, which cover IoT, AI, and also learning analytics. So inside this AI, we also develop chatbot to teach artificial intelligence in Bahasa Melayu. So hopefully it can also be used with some tuning for Indonesian learners maybe someday. In the right side, you can see the list of functions or features that we intend to address. This work is still currently ongoing. I will be presenting to you what we have what we have achieved for now. But we are aspired to be able to reach until prescriptive learning analytics. Next. This is the model which covers many kind of data. So among of our novelty is to include the heart rate. How the students feel towards this some of the lesson activity. Are they happy? Are they stressed? Even if they are stressed, would they indicate that they're actually happy through the user satisfaction app that we are building? So all this needs to be studied for us to understand the cognitive behavior and also the learning behavior so that we can come out with good recommendation system to recommend to the lecturers to come out with the learning plan. So imagine we have a learning plan that is standardized for everybody, but also we can have a learning dashboard that can identify the needs of certain students. So this is to ensure the learning engagement, learning achievement, good learning competency, and done through performance prediction and satisfaction prediction. So we are trying to balance between the fun during learning and also achieving the learning outcome out of the learning. Next. The dashboard looks like this, a bit of like this, intelligence simulator for personalized learning. So the features that you can view in this screenshot is the course info, course assessment, PO, and also how to the plan for the new lesson and also to get prediction. Next. We have also done case studies on learning analytic of the learning outcome distribution. So we compared across groups within the same semester, different semesters, and also to study the difference between gender and also groups and program outcomes. Among of our findings so far is that even to design the visualization dashboard is also a deep study on its own to identify what would be the simple yet understandable display for the people who are non data scientists so that they can make sense on what we are going to deliver through the dashboard. Next. This is the output illustrated developed when the solution was developed using RapidMiner. Next. So you can see that we had quite a good performance, and also we used RapidMiner to come up with a simulator to predict. So we can adjust this. So with this simulator, we have this, but the actual development would be inspired by the simulator, and we will develop using Python and PHP. Next. This is from the past pilot. We actually had to do 3 rounds of pilot to understand the requirements and to design. So this was the first pilot developed using Python. Here, the response that we had was that the dashboard is simple enough for people to understand and appreciate. But for computer scientists and computer analysts, data analysts, we say that actually the information that is delivered just very shallow descriptive. So we are still exploring ways on how we can increase the data analysis achievement. Next. This is from pilot 2. So this is much more technical in terms of data scientists, because here we have prediction, and also we can compare the difference. So much more functions here, but somehow not much appreciated by educators. So this is quite an interesting finding. Next. In our third pilot study, next. No, yeah. In our next pilot study, we developed a PHP, which is also to fuse the reading of heart rate from the students, and we developed a mobile application to let the students to rate each lesson. So from this, we now came up with the current ISPO, the one that you watched just now, but that one we just finished defending to an ethics committee. So the ethics committee was quite a tough one, because it was like a viva. I had to defend the whole idea to the ethics committee to let them understand even that we are reading the heart rate is actually not to it is not an intrusive measure. It is just for us to understand the learning behavior. So this is a good clash between computer scientists and educationists. Next. Right. All of this, all of the previous sharing on ISPRO was because of my previous works on recommendation system. So this was to illustrate to you that behind the design of learning analytic that has personalization, we should actually consider how recommendation system works. So this was the work from one of my past PhD student. He is now working in another university in Malaysia and had good publication. Alhamdulillah. Next. This is another work on recommendation system. The student is still doing her thesis. So also Alhamdulillah quite good publication from her. So here her focus is more on multi-aspect recommendation, while the previous student was focusing on temporal integration or latent temporal. Next. Besides my current project on learning analytic, I also have one grant sponsored by the US and Japan It is by the Asian Office of Air Force Research and Design, and the work focuses on deep recurrent queue network approach, which is a deep reinforcement learning approach for multi-objective Markov decision process. So here we focus also on recommendation system, but all the available works that I presented to you before was not done using education and learning analytics. But now I have one student looking into one or two students looking into the learning analytics based recommendation based learning analytics personalization. Next. Right. So I have talked too much. I am nearing my time maybe. The opportunities and way forward. I would like to recommend that people who wants to focus on this area needs to understand that each user is different. So when we want to design a personalized learning application so-called, we have to design bearing in mind each individual learner's specific needs, because each person simply have different kind of styles. The existing assessment of learning style can be used like the dance framework model, but to tune that, to blend that into the adaptive and personalization with recommendation would pose challenge. We need to also accommodate personal preferences and learning, and machine learning is to drive the overall effectiveness of an individual learner journey. So imagine having an edge analytic, a machine learning that can understand for specific user. So how maybe we can use transfer learning to learn and identify cluster people who has similar similar learning styles or similar learning needs, but bear in mind that people interests might evolve from time to time. So the learning components, including the pace of the learning, the personal preferences, the instructional design, the learning styles needs to be adjustable. Learners need to get their own control also. They should be able to customize and change and respond back to the system. So this is where reinforcement learning may fill the gap. And then despite whatever that we are suggesting, we need to also predict what would be the outcome if we suggest these things. And then to deliver a customized and just-in-time teaching, and to be able to track the previous performance and generate new content for use. Right now, people have been generating a lot of content, but the content are not necessarily reusable. So in education, if you look into inclusive open education resources study, people have moved forward into reusable learning objects. So these reusable learning objects will be among the important components to contribute towards AI for personalizing learning. Next. Right. So the conclusion, I've talked about AI and it is bound to impact on educational technology. Be ready everybody and be happy to contribute. Second, the huge potential of AI to democratize education, to make education reaches to everybody. So this is all the spirit of SDG 4. And then the technology will improve, not diminish the role of humans in teaching. So we need, as educators, we need to upgrade ourselves also. We need to complement and also improve our competency, focus more on what the technology can achieve versus what the technology is. While it's good to become a very fundamental computer science piece, but if it is just a lab work and it is not back to contributing the community, then we may need to strategize. And of course, when AI is implemented, we need to have a strong ethical foundation, education, and regulation mechanism. With that, I thank you and pass to the MC. Am I on time?
No, actually, you saved me a lot because it seems that Professor Huang did not come up yet.
All right. Okay. Special thanks to everybody in the group. Actually, we are short of 2 or 3 people in the picture. So I would like to open the floor to any question if you have, and also invite to potential collaboration. I am the champion for MOU between University Telkom and University Putra Malaysia. So I'm from the since I'm from the computer science faculty as well. So and thank you very much to Dr. Deden. We have many opportunities to collaborate. I have seen just now Dr. Agus, Pak Dekannya, met him before. So if you have any question, I would be happy. Maybe potential collaboration further, Pak Agus.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, then I would like to call Professor Wang first. Are you there already? Or Professor Wang? If Professor Wang did not come yet, then we will jump to the question and answer session. Maybe I would like to open the three questioner first. 3% would be put a question on the first turn in. If you have any question, don't be hesitate to raise your hand. There is a tool beside your name in the participants menu. You can click participant menu, and then in the right side of your name, that would be a raise hand tool. Or you just turn on your microphone and then directly ask for the question. Please. Hello? Okay, then I will put a question to you, Professor Wadlina.
Yes,
What is based on your experience, what is the most efficient database to make a data analytic in order to make learning analytic or any other descriptive or predictive analysis?
Thank you for the question. So far in my experience, I usually just use CSV, Excel. So we just use CSV for Excel. So we read using export tools like Power BI or Tableau and load into Python. But in my past works, my other data analytics project, we also have data available in many formats. We had data in SQL as well, besides the text which we need to transform. But to me, I am most convenient using CSV.
Is there any no SQL approach in your previous research?
To me, I have used NoSQL before, a long time ago. I think that was in 2014 to 2016 when I was working on sentiment analysis. But then I focused more into data analytics, pure data analytics, which when I look at the CSV, and we are integrating many CSV, actually we can consider that as NoSQL as well, because each of the table does not have relationship. So because of that, we did not use Mongo anymore. At the time, we were using Mongo as the NoSQL database. Yeah, but I had one project previously for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity Malaysia. We explored NoSQL and we wanted to use Hortonworks and also the Cloudera. But then we realized that we can just use Postgres to do our analysis. So for that project, we use RapidMiner with the combination of Postgres, some bit of SQL, and also RapidMiner and PHP. So that was one of the industry projects that I have completed.
Okay, interesting. I also very curious about your previous project of a fuzzy grammar for terrorist incident identification. That is very interesting for me. Can you explain it, maybe in brief?
Thank you. If you want, I coincidentally have another slide which I gave to UNAS, I think last month, which I shared about that approach. If you want, I can share. So that work was from my PhD time. Fuzzy grammar focuses about the representation of text segments. So imagine that we want to calculate the similarity or difference between one segment of text, one text fragment to another text fragment. We can calculate the difference by fuzzy. So the grammar part is the representation of the text. For example, let me recall, when I was doing my PhD, I used the World Incident Terrorist dataset. So because at that time in 2010, terrorism was happening very badly around that time, very actively around the world. So US has provided a data set on the records of happenings of terrorism event. So my focus at that time, oh, I can share content. Can I share content? Okay, I can share content. Okay, this one. Are you seeing? Okay, right.
On progress, yeah.
Okay. So
yes, no.
This was from the talk at UNAS with several other people. Some slides were taken from there also. Okay, so this was from the PhD work, and two of the title of the works was Evolving Fuzzy Grammar for Crime Text Categorization. I believe this is the one that you highlighted. A similar work from the PhD study was published also on soft computing. The title was A Comparative Study of Evolving Fuzzy Grammar and Machine Learning Techniques for Text Categorization. So here is the picture with me and my supervisor, and this was during mock viva. So the work was for text fragment identification. This is an example. So given these two short summary of terrorism incidents, the aim was to extract and to annotate, identify the parts of the text. For example, killing the driver.
Could you please make it full screen?
Oh, sure, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you see here, the green highlighted text, the green fonts indicate victim. So who was killed? The driver was killed. What was the time at night? At about 7:30. What was the date as given here? So there are other methods besides evolving fuzzy grammar. There are also other methods to represent this. We can use regular expression. Actually, the text fragment identification uses regular expression and some of fuzzy text as well to be able um, to represent the grammar, and then the grammar is applied as shown in this pipeline. So imagine we have these terminal grammars. So terminal would be the constituent of text. For example, 27 May 2004. 27 is the date. No, 27 is the number of the day in the month. May is the name of the month, and year. So when we represent this, we can come up with entity recognition, name entity recognition. Name entity recognition for date is available, but to be able to automatically extract and identify the content of the text that are more robust. For example, the way that we are writing our name. My name is Fadlina. Call me Fadlina. I am Fadlina. So these three styles, these three patterns of writing, these three ways of writing indicates the text pattern to indicate name. So that is this part for us to first derive the grammar, and then we combine the grammar, and then we have the learned grammar, like the, for example, the name grammar, and then we have the text. We can extract the text, identify, and then highlight the fragment. So in that work for terrorism incident, I did the extraction of time, location, the event type, victim types, the wounded count, and also the count. So this was work on text mining. Yeah, is that clear?
Yes, it's very interesting. Is this method can be applied for maybe hoax detection, maybe to compare maybe the false news or the true news or something like that?
Oh, if we look into hoax, this problem, hoax news and sarcasm, they are very similar, right? Because in the not in the context that they are similar problem, but they require similar technique. For us to identify whether hoax is a hoax and to identify whether sarcasm is sarcasm, we need to combine the identification of the text and also the intensity of the content of the text plus some rules. So if you
Okay.
want to apply this on the text, it's okay, but you need also other techniques for us to come up with that hoax identification. I had a previous, I supervised a student previously on spam detection, and also I had other students doing scam, not scam, sarcasm detection besides the spam detection. So for that work, one student oh, okay. For these both works, those students just focus on the text. But I had other student working on stock prediction based on combination of text and also stock logs, the prediction. So I believe for now, we really need to combine components rather than focusing just on the content of the text only. We need to go multimodal.
Hmm. Yes, yes. Very nice. Any more question maybe from the others?
Yes,
It
please. I
seems
am
that
very friendly, as you can see. I have been teaching also last short semester with Dr. Denny. I taught data analytics to telecom students from Globe. Yes, please. You have question?
Dr. Supriyanto want to ask something? Yes, please.
I want to ask one question to Prof. Eko Indrajit.
Okay, sure.
Okay, please.
Hello, Prof. Eko. Very nice lecture today regarding the e-learning. Your research is actually very good, but the implementation maybe has an issue. In the pandemic era, our students use e-learning to go to school, go to school from their home. But the problem is the students cannot stay for a long time in the computer and the handphone. So the question is how to encourage the student so they can follow the teachers instructor, can stay for sometimes and the gadget and the laptop. As a parents, I also saw my children cannot stay for even 15 minutes or 30 minutes. How to encourage it, Prof. Eko Indrajit?
of Indrajit. Are you still there? Hello? It seems that he lost the connection, maybe. Professor Fadlina, could you answer maybe in the other point of view, maybe based on your experience, maybe in Malaysia?
Sure, would be my pleasure. As I'm now the Deputy Director at the Center for Academic Development, among of my works are to train educators. So question about engaging delivery is quite a common, and now people have been inviting me to give training. So I would answer your question by saying that we actually need engagement. So not like this. Usually when I teach, I wouldn't teach much. I would encourage my students to talk, and I would use collaborative tools. So a very simple and doable collaborative tool would be using Google Slides. So usually I will give question to the students, and I will give them links, shareable links, editable links in Google Slides, and I will give question there, and I will ask them to illustrate and write whatever their thoughts and give answers and structure. From my experience, for your information, last semester, full semester, we are actually today is the second day of semester in Malaysia. Actually, I have class now. So what happened is that we would prepare materials for asynchronous lesson. So we have two types of lesson, right? Asynchronous and synchronous. Synchronous means online like this, and then asynchronous means the student can go and learn on their own pace. We in Malaysia, we also encourage students to learn not only through delivery, meaning not that the lecturer have to finish everything and explain like in face-to-face lesson. Actually, I can say that is a wrong method. It shouldn't be like that. We actually should go 10 minutes, 10 minutes or maximum 10 minutes we teach, and then go for activity for at least 5 minutes, and then continue with another 10 minutes if we still want to talk, and then that with that interval. So that is the effective ways. So use a lot of other tools like Google Slides, Padlet, Mentimeter, other gamification tools, and go project based. Let the learning be student centered, but not lecturer centered. We are all very much too familiar and spoiled with the old teaching style where we need to finish all the materials. Actually, learning attainment is not solely based on what we teach them, by what we tell them is the only way to teach. Actually, learning should be experiential and let the students to drive the learning. Let us hear from the students. I think I can see many young faces here. Do you agree with what I just said? Do you prefer more on activities? Now is the time for you to voice your concern. If you agree, put your hands up in the air and wave. No one agree with me? Are you all too afraid? No one agree? Seriously? All right. Nice. Oh, I think there is delay actually. Thank you. So, Dr. Supriyanto, you got your answer. This is an example of the way to be engaging also.
Okay, thank you very much. Very nice answer. Yeah, sometimes we have to provocate them to talk. I have just seen a very tough question from the chat box. Many countries in the world do not have good telecommunication infrastructure, and they feel unprepared because of the use of e-learning by accidents. What is the solution for implementing e-learning in a rural area during the pandemic? What do you think? It's a very tough question.
Okay, very tough, but I will try my best to answer since this has been asked to me also before. I think the person who asked this, Tenya Wahyu, she is very concerned about students. Congratulations and thank you for being the way you are. Because we have encountered this problem. So what happened was in UPM, we did some survey about student internet readiness and also their challenges in learning. Some students have difficulty in participating in learning simply because of their environment, not only because of infrastructure. They cannot participate in learning because the environment is noisy and they are maybe sometimes ashamed, and also they have to take care of their younger children. So these are all the additional challenges. Talking about the so this is applicable not just because rural, it also happen in urban, depending on the commitment of the person, right? Okay, implementing e-learning in rural areas. We have in UPM, we came out with a guide on how we can attend to this. We use a technique called bit-sized learning or nugget-sized learning. So to do this, we record in voice, using our voice, using WhatsApp, short messages to explain topics in short time, and then we send voice notes and then a picture and also description. So this way, we will go, of course, the workload will increase, unfortunately, because we are unprepared. But as long as we have the determination to still be the super educator because of the big heart that we have, and we prioritize what is the most important in that certain topic. So that specific topic would be the part that you focus most. You prepare many kinds of resources. You prepare video, you prepare audio, you prepare questions and quizzes. Even now using Telegram, we can create quiz in Telegram using Telegram function. And another extreme, more extreme example that I can give is to go by hard copy. I think, oh okay, 2 days ago I was giving one training on in e-learning, and somebody asked me this similar question. But also I was blessed because I had a similar question long ago. So at that time, the one of the um, alternative is actually to go printed, meaning we print for the student and we post to them. That is why, as educator, the most important is the heart to become a super educator. So, if we recall, I remember during my time, I had this learning by post. So, as long as the learning can happen, the learning can reach the society and the students, and it can benefit to the students. Just do it. As long as, because my slogan for learning is that learning is when you touch the heart. So I talk a lot.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nur Fadalina.
Yes, to teach is to touch a life forever.
Yes. Any more question maybe?
No, this is a quote of the day. That for Miss Nur Fadalina is a good quote for the day.
Hello, Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pak Dede.
Yeah. Thank you very much, moderator Dr. Ina. How are you? Good. Okay. I have one question. I know that you are a director of teaching and learning innovation in UPM, and also you have so many projects from Malaysian government and also maybe different in USA, I think. So what do you think, or what do you think about learning in the future? I think we realize that pandemic still no, what do you call, like, no depth, right? Like still mystery, yeah, they're learning in the future. So what do you think about our strategy? For example, is it because I hear information from our student that is it boring because every day we standing or sitting in front of the laptop or computer, but mm, maybe from your perspective, we need like some strategic planning for higher learning education in the future, something like that. Dr. Ina. Maybe you can explain about it because so many students also join today. I think they are also agree with me that it's so boring every day like this. Even like conference like this also make boring. Like, okay, maybe that's the question.
This is such a huge question. Why you ask me the question now?
So
I'll
the
try to
question is
answer.
like, I
I'll
know
try to
I want to
answer.
know about the Prepastic from director of teaching learning in the patient. Maybe some government of Malaysia like have a very specific strategy for the future because of the pandemic is still not good in the future, something like that.
In Malaysia, sadly to inform you, we are now on the third wave, and
Yeah.
it started last week. So this is the second week. It is going worse actually instead of going brighter, going better. So I would answer that what we need is experiential online learning. So experiential online learning would focus on how to create students to still have a good learning experience even if online. Another way that we can come up is to strategize such that students have flexible learning. So imagine, normally we have a standard schedule. From certain time to certain time, some students attend this class. For certain times to certain times, students attend this class. Actually, I would suggest that lecturers who are offering similar courses, they can combine the course and then they can come out with activities and assignments which are more coordinated. Imagine, it is actually very burdening for the students. For each project and for each assignment and activity that they are attending, each lecturer would give a lot of tasks. When going online, we need to do more assessment online quiz from time to time, video sharing, URL sharing, discussion and all. But those are actually because we work alone. Why not we work together? So similar works, similar subjects, or complementing subjects combined, and then you focus on doing something which has more impact and go towards problem-based learning or project-based learning. So this way, the students' burden wouldn't be so much. We are now still treating them like they are still at primary or secondary school. They should be treated like they are adults who are ready for working. So because of that, they are actually capable of performing tasks which are much more challenging, like a certain project. And in Malaysia also, we are now going service learning online. So service-based learning is something that focuses on students to spend 20 credit hours, 20 hours with the community or industry. Students teach the industry or community. So this way, student will do activity and will do the activity online and create things and transfer the knowledge online. So by doing this kinds of approach, students will be more motivated because they are learning and know that they are contributing to others also and they will work together with the students. Now, mostly the way that we are implementing the teaching, even the second semester or the third semester or third times of the this movement control order, the quarantine lockdown, we still do it traditional way. So that needs to be changed. If I'm not the ministry or whatever, this is just my thoughts, which I think would be very good if we can implement.
Okay, thank you, Nina.
Probably there is another question from industrial point of view, maybe. Oh. Professor Wang is already there or not?
Professor Wang will ready in 11.
Okay,
We
we
still, yeah.
yeah, we still have 27 minutes left before 11. So I think we can do some relaxation maybe.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Yes, please. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
I would like to ask a question to Dr. Noor about the sentiment analysis because what we know that she work on the sentiment analysis, and it should be the Malay language, right? In Malay language, because you also talk about the chatbot and other things. So compared to Indonesian language, maybe we in Indonesia we face with the very unstructured sentences built by Indonesian. So aside of formal language, we have a very casual language that usually people use in the social media. So this kind of sentences, this kind of style is very difficult to tackle, in my opinion. So for Malay, I'm not sure how Malay people build their sentence in the social media, but I think that maybe there are some similar problems that you face when you work with sentiment analysis. Maybe you can share your experience with that work.
Thank you for the question, Budi and Mawati.
Yeah.
Actually, many of my works on, I think 90% was on English.
Okay.
And now, lately, I have one student in doing work in Arabic sentiment analysis, so that takes 10%. I have done very little work on Malay, but mostly because, as you said, it is very challenging to work in our own language because the resource is very scarce. Not many resources are available. Part of speech tagger is not available steadily. We don't have a good lexicon, so those are the challenges. So when I work with my postgraduate students, my promise with them usually, I want you to finish maximum 365 times 3 days. So I wouldn't choose something that will burden them because if it is postgraduate work, unless if they are really motivated to do, to me, the postgraduate is just a license for them. But for real project, some people have offered to me, but then I did not proceed because seeing that it may face failure. But I have met somebody who is now working at Google. He has worked on settlement analysis for Malay, and he used to work for the government. He was the sort of the cyber weapon of the previous government. So his approach was by combining deep learning. So he used BERT, and also he developed also lexicon. So I went to for several workshops with him, and then he shared on that. But you are right. If you because when I returned from my PhD, I explored into sentiment analysis and I wanted to apply the fuzzy grammar into Malay language understanding. I did that, but at very small scale. But then I did not proceed because I see that it is very difficult for me to proceed with my career if just working alone. But actually, compared to Malaysia and Indonesia, based on my study, Indonesia has more sentiment analysis resources. That one I can say because I've done my study. So, are you working in this area, Bu Irma?
Yes.
Wow, wow! I really respect. Maybe the students that I have are not much as motivated as you. Full respect. All the best.
Thank you.
Any other question, maybe?
It
Actually,
seems like there is a question in the chat.
Oh, about the online courses in engineering. As we know that engineering requires field practice, while some universities are not be able to conduct learning by virtual reality. What do you think?
In Malaysia, I think also similar to other countries. In Malaysia, the Faculty of Engineering relies mainly on the Board of Engineering. So they have standard requirements for the students to be able to practice in engineering. So among of the challenges, but handled properly, I would compliment because that the people in those faculty, they came out with really good documentation and update. So in engineering and other courses which require a lot of psychomotor, so the approach that you can consider is by using a lot of simulation. So like there are many simulation software that enables the student to still learn. So in engineering, for example, you have structural mechanical, maybe nano. So you can use a lot of online and digital tools. But again, this require immediate competency building. Other than that, um, I know also there are challenges. For example, if you come out with demonstration video but you don't have the materials in front of you, another of the thing that you can do is to refer to the previous students, last semester students work to share with the current semester student, or to resort to YouTube to use materials by others. Those are just what I can share, because like in UPM we have many kinds. We have a diversity of fields. We have many agriculture, veterinary, and also forestry, which require the people to really be in that environment to learn properly. But until the quarantine is lifted, we have just to rely to all these online materials and try to create an immersive environment as much as we can.
Okay. He also mentioned about virtual reality that some universities are not yet able to conduct. Yes. Any more question? Seems like that we still have 15 minutes before 11.
If anything, can I leave? I'm being called for an urgent presentation, urgent meeting now. Dr. Dinan?
Sorry, I didn't get.
Okay, I think we can break 10 minutes, Pak Iman, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can take a break for the next 10 minutes and then we come back again to the board maybe on 11.
Yeah, okay. And
then everybody will happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ida, for presentation.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Hope to be able to collaborate
Yeah.
again in the future.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Ida.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Bye.
Fakultas Teknik Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa merupakan salah satu fakultas yang menjadi cikal bakal berdirinya Untirta yang terletak di Cilegon, Banten. Fakultas Teknik dimulai dari berdirinya Sekolah Tinggi Teknologi oleh PT Krakatau Steel pada tahun 1982 dengan izin penyelenggaraan untuk tingkat sarjana muda. Seiring berjalannya waktu, tanggal 19 Maret 2001, Universitas Tirtayasa Banten resmi menjadi perguruan tinggi negeri dengan nama Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa yang menaungi Fakultas Teknik. Fakultas Teknik telah beberapa kali mengalami pergantian kepemimpinan. Setiap pemimpin telah berhasil membawa Fakultas Teknik Untirta ke arah yang lebih baik. Kini, Fakultas Teknik Untirta dipimpin oleh Profesor Dr. I. Asep.
Halo, Profesor Wang.
Hello?
Ya, Prof. Wang udah
Professor
masuk.
Wang is there, I think.
Yeah.
Do you copy, Professor Wang?
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Professor Junseok Hwang. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Prof.
Okay, yeah, clear, very clear. Technician, please. Please allow me to read the CV of Professor Wang first. Yeah. After I introduce Professor Wang first, Professor Jun Seok Hwang, BSMS PhD from Seoul National University. Professor Huang is professor at the Technology Management, Economic and Policy Program, College of Engineering, Seoul National University, South Korea. He is the Director of International Technology Professional Program, ITPP, which is fostering global ICT talents around the world. He also Director for SNU Global R&DB Center for Academic Industry Cooperation in Korea and around the world. His bachelor degree from Yonsei University, Seoul, specializing in mathematics, and his master degree earned from in the field of telecommunication from the University of Colorado, and his PhD was in the field of information science and telecommunication from the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the United States. He has strong background in mathematics, economics, engineering, telecommunication, information science, transdisciplinary convergence to the information education of philosophy. So yes, like a multidisciplinary scientist. He also involved in the smart city planning and development and initiated a special smart city graduate convergence major program at Seoul National University. Nowadays, he is co-chairing and organizing for ESDV, Green Smart Development and Vision, and also Supreme Seminar. He also co-chaired and organized Global Seoul ICT Forum in 2018 and World Innovation Network of IT 2018 and Global Seoul Innovation Forum in 2019. Without further ado, let me call Professor Wang to deliver his presentation in the next 30 minutes, Prof. So the time is yours, please.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Junso Huang, and so also I greatly appreciate your kind introduction about myself. And I believe I have about 40 minutes, or maybe I think 30 minutes in the Q&A. So I'll directly go to the speech I'm planning to do. I'd like to share, how the digital economy policy, especially in Korea, they're going on. And this is a very important one because in academia, what we are expecting is our education and research really need to, probably staggered by the practice. And so the way that we actually our academic knowledge to be into practice is actually need to be in conjunction with the business model, going on in the industry. At the same time, so policy direction that each Asians are doing. Especially, I'm very happy to be partner with also your conference, especially University of Mataram in Lombok, where we have actually strong partnership between SNU and Mataram for our global, social responsibility activity, and we are planning to do further collaboration. And especially, I have also University Undam's faculty member, coming to Korea and doing their PhD here, and they have been doing very excellent job. And we currently have almost 5 Indonesian experts actually pursuing either master degree and PhD degree, under Korean scholarship, which I'll introduce you later. So next, please. Yeah, well, I think this is picture which gives me, and the picture is actually from Vietnam, called in the area of Pinyon, and where I practice our IoT device to be connected with the water collection tank, so that smart filter actually works, and the management of the smart filter are done remotely by from Korea, and also But using Arduino and IoT devices, we actually would be able to provide the drinking water to the elementary school there. So we have been doing this kind of work more than 7 years so far, and I think that was one of the probably 2 or 3 years ago, when I lead this whole team. Okay, next please. So this is actually the scholarship I mentioned. I think for those, the faculty member who are interested in, also the recommending some of your student or faculty member to the PhD in Korea, please refer that side. We will be also opening for the scholarship next year too. Next one, please. This scholarship has 17 years of effort that we have. So I think so far we have almost 400 alumni in the world, and also 80 countries in the world. And these thus represents our alumni network in the world. And so I think there's benefit that our ICT or innovation leader to be educated in Korea. And we are really doing one of the very highest degree of the education and research, so which I would like to share with you later. Okay, next please. So probably the speech will be divided in these 4 sections. First, I will have show you more of a macro view of the digital economy policy of Korea, how it evolves. We believe we already started our digital economy. So we are in a very early stage of the digital economy, and we have some forms and law and text related digital economy, and also some of the important model project that we have. I'll talk to you about that as a digital economy platform. And then, on those digital economy platform, what kind of Korean project and cases and research has been done and finally commercialized. So I will share with you some of the application of business that are done. Many of them are already finished and in a mode of the commercialization of the business. I will talk to you. In our south sector, one of the very important thing is that the technology we use, the data platform technology we use, developed for smartly, were used and then transformed to the COVID-19 response system. I state that here as a COVID 2020. So I will share that recent response and the benefit what we use, high tech, and then it respond to the COVID, and that's why Korea is currently managing our outbreak of COVID in very manageable way. And finally, from the point of the data science and information system and the policy, I'll provide you 5 discussion points you might consider as academic leader. Okay, next please. Next, please. So, as you know, that Korea has, many of the part of the strong. One of the part is actually our readiness, especially in the data capability and data management, data capability. And Korea is one of the first great, among OECD countries, for its usefulness and also openness and reusability. And this is by the sake of we have also very advanced e-government practice and also infrastructure we have. Next, please. And as you can see that, totally the ICT development index in Korea is one of the highest rank in the world. And our total index has been very high. And we believe this will be also a very important foundation for the digital economy and for industrial revolution, and including education and skill building. Next, please. And also, World Economic Forum, the so-called Davos Forum or NCR, also measured Korea as one of the leading country for the readiness network readiness and also especially the readiness for the fourth industrial revolution. So we are around the 10th, in total world, in whole sector, including technology and things like that. But we'll keep, try to improve that one in the world. Next, please. And many of you probably may know that Korea is one of the countries who has been actually propagating the importance of the e-government and also in IoT or the infrastructure and standardization. And so in that regard, still, we have a very strong liturgy, but we try to actually use that into further aspects, including smart city. So we see also smart city, which I'll talk to you later a little bit, as another platform for the digital economy. Yeah, next, please. Well, I'll skip this one, please. Next, please. Okay, so then based on this kind of background, I'll give you a little bit of how the economy, Korean economy, has been adapted digital economy as it's a roadmap already started, and then I'll explain to you what kind of strategy and policy we have. Next, please. So we see our digital economy per se has started, probably around 2015. When we have, very, focus on our ICT in the convergence and creativity associated with it, and try to build the ecosystem around it. And so our previous administration is the period where we believe, generally, we did not call that digital economy, we called that creative economy, but per se, it was a digital economy. And eventually in 2016, World Economic Forum and other, the World Bank named digital economy in many different forms. World Economic Forum called the fourth industrial revolution, and also the World Bank actually created a report in 2016, so-called digital dividend. And also even UN, they say the UN SDG started in 2016. So we believe actually, our era of the digital economy already started around 2015 and 16, and that's the turning point we see. And after that, we actually focus on policy onto some of the platform infrastructure and also services and ecosystem building to support our digital economy of fourth industrial revolution. So IoT, cloud, and big data and mobile are one of the initial infrastructure we've been building. But now we are focusing on AI and also the smart city, and also for the global innovation system like economy with the free economic the zone specification in conjunction with the socio-technical innovation. Okay, next, please. So our government still have a very strong commitment about the digital economy. Ministry of Information and Science, Technology and ICT are the one that driving this digital economy in conjunction with the Ministry of Finance and Economy. And so these two bodies are the one that is properly promoting and also planning digital economy in Korea. In that regard, we focus on the investment, both in the non-profit and profit sector, and then also the system building, ecosystem, and technology. So next, please. And one thing we try to say that our digital economies are that government still have a very important part to do PPP, public-private partnership. At the same time, because of the platform nature of the economy, we see that digital economy are based on the global innovation system. So in order for our villages and country and industry to be part of the global innovation system, our ministry identify the international free economic zone in very specialized in digital economy. And Shihung, where our SNU campus is actually reside, is actually identified recently as a free economic zone, which actually has a lot of benefit to doing global innovation. At the same time, in our neighborhood, we have an Incheon Songdo, where we have an Incheon Free Economic Zone. Both of them are actually geared toward to the digital economy, and also, and the support. And so this kind of social support and regulatory support allow Korea actually be one of the, global innovation system. The second one, next one, please. As another one we see as a digital economy policy, we see the smart city is not only urban planning. We see the smart city is a national smart city is actually a founding platform for digital economy, where we can do smart autonomous vehicle, where we can do smart energy, where we can do smart mobility, where we can do smart health and medicine, where we can do smart building, and where we can do smart parking, where we can do smart education. So all over our living life, and we still believe that our population will be concentrated in a more modernized city. So we see that, in next 30 years, still the city will mature and develop further, and more of the population will be living in the city. So, focusing on the innovation in the city level, but with a different level of commitment as a platform for the digital economy is very important. And in that regard, we see the smart city project as very important. Korea already identified the model smart city, including Seoul, where I am, and Sejong, our administrative kind of capital, and Busan is our second capital for the kind of trade, and also Daegu is very industry intensive area, and so these four areas has been identified as a new smart city development project, and I believe the 10-year commitment on those cities will make our smart city, our digital economy, be really one of the part of our life. The next, please. And also AI is very important because AI is not AI for AI. It will be everywhere as an intelligent platform for the digital economy. So, but the human capital and technology and also supporting AI ecosystem as a balance. It's also having open data and also multidisciplinary professionalism, and also integrating the capabilities, and also more advanced data computing infrastructure. All of them are very challenging one, and you need also very strong commitment if you want to have an intelligent platform for digital economy. And Korean government and as iKorea 4.0, we actually make a very strong commitment to do R&D investment on this AI intelligent platform. I think that is already well commercialized, and many of the businesses are blooming now. Okay, next please. So for next 10 minutes, I'm going to actually give you the flying bird view, which I will say in Indonesian, Garuda view of all these 10 factors very fastly, and connecting the importance of the digital economy on that. Okay, next please. The first thing is from the public point of view, the healthcare is where digital economy can be well practiced. Now we see that healthcare is still challenging, as you know that not only the Korea, United States, all over Europe, our healthcare system are not enough to take care of any kind of outbreak in this one. So it is ever challenging goal, and our current business model and technology are not enough to deal with it. In order for us to do that, we need to improve the capability of the healthcare and capacity by what? The digital economy solution. And that's why we focus on the digital economy as a part of the Ministry of Health. And we have a very successful one going on. And Korea become now, IT is one of the strongest actual business, but healthcare and biosector and medicine are one of the another next strong sector, and we have a booming economy about it. And you will see in 10 years, the one of like a Samsung, what you see as a international company, you will see Korean company like a Samsung Bio and other company really in one of the leader in the world, and with the hospital system. Next, please. So I think, this healthcare actually based on the big data platform where it is originally developed, for the digital economy support. And that's why I see it's a very important initiative. Next, please. So second one is also from the public side, education. Investing in education is never enough. So we still believe, that real-time interactive video learning is very important. And we already started that kind of investment in the 2018 as a massive, interactive platform. And we have already migration to the, online education. Now, university degree can be obtained without difference, inside and outside, and without time difference by law and by online because of the COVID. So our law and requirements are changing, and we will have a more distance-based learning as a regular system. I believe that is right direction, and Korea is taking the frontier position of reforming education. I believe that is very important. Next, please. So not only the kind of online network and the way of building the content, and also doing additional kind of capability, and also using robot or AI and augmented reality, and those will help to our school children or even university education people be effective. I believe that kind of capability can be used for additional digital economy. That's why education business building by the support of the digital economy, it has a great impact to the society. And any part of the country in the world still need to invest more on the education, and I strongly believe this is right direction. Next, please. So case 3 is actually transportation and mobility, and also humans are moving, and we are moving, and we need additional connection. And transportation allow people to move and to get into the society, more engagement, but also effective way of socializing. In that regard, mobility, like autonomous vehicle and logistics, all those are very important. And we now have a test bed in various countries, various sites. One of the first one is in Hwasong City, what we saw K City. Other is well used, and in also our campus, we have another autonomous vehicle track as a test bed. So we'll have more, and eventually in 5 to 10 years, we believe we don't need that kind of track anymore, because all the traffic will be in the street, and those will be tested in the street without this like tracks. And that's our vision in our transportation for the digital economy. Next, please. Okay, so we can move on. Yeah. Next, please. Agriculture is also very important part of the nation. Any nation needs to have a food security, and agricultural business is very important. How to improve agriculture, smart farming, and diffusion. And I know the Lombok and Indonesia are also very strong focus on the agriculture business. I believe actually in a smart farming experience what we have and policy we have actually can be well shared with the many of the province in Indonesia and also other countries. And I believe also we have a municipal level of government like Sangju or Kimje, and so in many of the city has also the municipality has a way the policy you need to support this one, and government national government are cooperating with the municipality to have a local economy strongly equipped with the technology associated smart farm project. And now smart farm become very popular, and we are now thinking that again now urban farming even either. Okay, next please. So next please. So the fifth one is environment, and greenness and environmental is very important. Korea is one of the country who, committed ourselves for the new Green Deal, And also we try to reform ourselves and say that our renewable energy and our climate become, kind of nature. We are in very early stage. And so we committed to the smart environment policy, and many of the smart city projects are in conjunction with this environmental policy. We use IoT and we use drones to monitor many of the also climate issues, at the same time pollution issues, and also epidemic prevention issues. And all these are the environmental issues, and we have a lot of technology. And also, some of those technology solutions are proposed by the Living Lab in the smart city, because the citizen actually propose the problem, and then business actually solve those problems. We have an innovation center to support these kind of things. Next slide, please. Another one is about energy. Still, many of the countries are based on the gas-based fuel and oil-based fuel. I don't believe those are sustainable. So we need to transform ourselves to the renewable energy power generation. For example, our city, smart city of Xiong, actually have committed our goal of 2030. In 10 years, we have an industrial park here. So many industrial, the company reside in this was one of the region, very concentrated, heavy industry region. Now we are transforming those into the smart factory. At the same time, green, industry. So in 10 years, we try to make all industrial park to be based on the renewable energy 100%. That is our strongest vision. In order for us to do that, we are working with the Ministry of Environment and also Ministry of Industry and the Trade. And so with the strong support of the municipality. And that's what's going on. I believe, this is very, meaningful project. And also we actually, try to have our experience to be shared with the international society by GCF, which is our also, kind of the center we have in Korea. Next, please. And 5G is also important, as you know, that real-time application is very important for the digital economy. And we are one of the countries who studied this one, and we try to build the coverage of the 5G much more wide and universal way and cheaper way. So we are doing our diligence to to use it more. And finally, many of the smart city projects are engaged with the diffusion of the smart 5G. I hope this 5G will actually give very strong benefit of using a digital economy in all other countries. Okay, next please. And also, not only the land, we actually have a concept of the smart island. Sometimes we say giga island. And also, not only the island, very area, remote area in the mountainous area and valley. We try to actually give access to those places so that the universal access and universal service for the people who are living remotely can be accessed. Finally, these islands, also remote area, will be commuted by urban air mobility, what we so-called urban taxi. So we believe the value of island will increase when the urban mobility like drones are improving. I believe that also Indonesian economy will be stronger. When you have e-mobility and also drone-like mobility are promoted and supporting the business on other that, and in nature that Indonesia will have a very strong support for this kind of mobility industry. Next, please. And drone postal service, it was a project in 2 years ago. Now finally it is already part by part in commercialization in our Xiong area. Officially, drone postal service will be available in this city. And so now the drone postal service become the real thing in our city, and it will also collect the data from mobility and environment. At the same time, when it delivers postal services, and the data will be connected with the data center operated for smart city innovation center in this area. The last one, please. The next one is also, having these digital economy benefit and technology for minority and disabilities are the one very important. We have some sample R&D project to support Alzheimer's disease patients and elderly present, with IoT-based protection services so that they can actually have a faster treatment when some accident happens, and then we have a very successful testing in a research. And many of these will be in place in soon. I think, once, we have, certain law supported. Currently, the Congress are working on to support the law, and this one, hopefully in very near future, we'll have these services as a business and regular business. Okay, next please. Okay, so far I gave you like a 10-minute view about what's going on and the digital economy policy in Korea. And I'd like to show you also one of the recent cases we have. We solve COVID, as a response of COVID 2020, how we use the data platform of a smart city, as a response of COVID 2020. Next, please. Slide you see on the left side is actually the platform we built for the smart city as a standard smart city platform for Korean national project. The Kaya is one of the government institute to build that as a national project, and also many companies actually been doing, and that these smart management system for smart city data platform are the one original built for the smart city. But in very early of March, when officially COVID-19 actually outbreak in Korea, in Daegu province, city, and the area, and there were emergency situation for Korea. And so these institute and also government business collaborated and also called expert, to how to respond to these kind of COVID. And finally, they came up with, modify the existing smart city platform system as a epidemic investment support system. And then they actually tested with, also many mobile application and also urban data, and in conjunction with the location data with the source, with the mobile company, and also having a smart city data hub they created before, and finally tested those in 2 weeks. And so just in a week, pilot operation developed, and just in a week, in 10 days, official launch done, and March 26th, national level of the, COVID-19 SMS system has been launched and provided most of the tracking services and alarming services and, other, additional services for the COVID response. And this is, not many people know, but this is very remarkable, kind of evidence that shows that our last 20-year effort to build smart city. Korea actually started our ubiquitous city project in 2000. And so we actually spent 20 years in R&D and business. And finally, we have actually named the city, which we call Smart City Project. But at the same time, those 20-year R&D, experiences has been used for the response of the COVID-19. That's why, you can see that we have a people who can respond, and those people in a group who are different company and part working as a team, and finally come up with a solution in a week, and finally national level of test. And this kind of agile adoption of a smart city very important, but having a capability of such kind of human network very important. I believe in this conference we truly need to talk about how we can improve our networking and knowledge capability and creating community of practice. Next, please. So this is, many of you know that, this is very technical, presentation. I don't have time to go over, but it is operating the structure of the platform. And as you can see, this is actual data management platform. So, very heterogeneous, data, and with the metadata management, finally, actually, this kind of investment system has been used, for the epidemic, investment support system. Next, please. Finally, it uses, that system SMS use analyzing epidemic data with the speed, and finally also, it used, it has been used to give, how the infection has been experienced and what the affected area. So we have a very high level of the precision to identify who are affected, who are not affected. Because of that precision, our response is also very effective and also prompt. And that's the way how to manage the incidence of the COVID or affected people, managed in a very modern level. And that is actually the way how to deal with this kind of outbreak. I believe if with this kind of experience used, any kind of disaster, I believe we can actually utilize the power of information system in any kind of disease and disaster, which is originally the philosophy of the internet when DoD and NSF and in the world actually created internet. Next, please. So, well, I think, the successful factor for the quadrilateral 2020 is IT infrastructure, our experience in e-government, and also we have a personal, regulatory support and law, and also our medical system has been improving, and also we had the cases of MERS, that is what we so called, where we had some, failure of dealing with this kind of epidemic in the medical staff and in the hospital, largest hospital in Korea. But that learning allow us to actually prepare ourselves more, and that's why our failure now become so far the successful response to COVID-19. Next, please. And now, we are actually experimenting many other innovative idea using this epidemic management system, remote data care, Medicare, and walkthrough testing and self-diagnosis, and also self-quarantine and some other things. So the citizen engagement is very important, and higher level of the awareness and also smart citizenship actually help. This one is also important in the wider education and citizens, democratic, involvement is very important. And Korean outreach, kind of voluntary, participation and cooperation for this kind of national reaction. I believe that is strength, for us to respond to this kind of disease and disaster. Next, please. Finally, I would like to actually make a 5 discussion point. I'm not gonna, move because I only have 5 more minutes. So the discussion point I would like to say, the first one start with, next please, the data policy. So it will be the, especially big data or the public support of data always has a problem with how to share those data. And big data not possible if there's no logistics on the law and innovation system and partnership, included among the organization. And this cannot happen in a day. It takes 10 years or sometimes 20 years. So it's never only, on this one. So any country need to work on the data policy so that your organization and society has a higher trust level, so that you can share the data. Higher security level, and you can share the data. And that's why the data policy is very important. How much you share the data with your neighbor and people and also other organization, that proves, how secure and how trustable your nation is, how secure, how trustable your country is, and how secure, how trust your society is. That's why this data policy is very important. The second one, next one, please. Open innovation, yes. Our culture in many of the organization and also economy and economic sector still very competitive. Competitions are mechanism to improve the efficiency. From now on, no, it's a convergence. In order to the convergence and creativity and create a value creation, you need open innovation. But organizations are not, still, organized in a way doing open innovation. So we need to reform the way of dealing with the all kind of issues, including open data, but in general, the whole business need to be open innovation. The second one, next please, third one. And also national innovation system and also regional innovation systems are form of previous economy. But in digital economy, the global innovation systems are very important. All these need to be synchronized well, so that your global efforts still benefit your region and your national efforts still actually benefit global society. And this kind of compromise and the complement actually and also substitute will allow more effective way of creating innovation system. Now all the region need to be global in the world because we are dealing with the data economy and data economy. The next please. And it's about the development and sharing. In order to promote the digital economy, for some countries still it needs a long-term commitment. But in national policy, sometimes you have a very urgent need. For that reason, sometimes R&D investment or education investment has been probably in the second priority. But no. The information society still need to urge to the public that they have to invest on both, evidence and sharing, in balanced way. What is the way to do that? Invest more on the university, invest more on the R&D, invest more on the people, and that is the way. And training and investability. That is the way that you can boost to the development and sharing, and long-term commitment are possible by doing that. I believe all countries may actually have a benefit of doing that. This is basic principle of running the economy, and then that is one of the important messages I'd like to say to many of the leaders in the world. Lastly, then we have a new technology coming up. One technology I propose to Mataram and with our students, from Mataram University, I propose using the drone and with the AR and VR capability and having a drone tour, having a platform drone tour to the whole part of the local island. It is a PPP because to get a license, government business are involved. But also private need to bring the one, but also locality, the people and tourists, tour guide and the tourist agency need to cooperate, to protect and promote this idea. And for that reason, that kind of emerging technology ideas are there. But if there is no strong support, the idea from the university and also startup would not be in the commercialized. That's why we actually build a very innovative district in Korea. I hope the Mataram University become one of the very innovative districts in Lombok, and also in Indonesia, many innovation districts in your new, the smart city where you are doing new capital. So I really, have a very happy to have a chance in front of our Indonesian people. I'm sorry I don't talk with the, Bahasa. I really love to listen to Bahasa from you. So, feel free to ask me in Bahasa, someone translate, and also I can respond in English, Okay, thank you everyone, and that's me. And next, please. Yeah, this is my new campus. 1/3 already finished. I'd like to really show you the picture, next to building. But I really invite you all, many of you, to our Korea and see our new campus. This campus is fully finished in this way as a smart campus in 5 years, but already 1/3 has been finished. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Professor Huang. Very nice presentation. Very futuristic and best practice. For the next session, we will accept a question for the participants. Is there any question? I have seen it on the chat box from Pak Dadan. How does the economy policy in South Korea in facing COVID-19? Because we know there are so many countries in the world now in the economic crisis. Professor Wang, can you maybe
I think,
explain on
I think I already gave you our technical part of the, response of COVID-19, right? But if I'm giving you a little bit, you need a balance. You cannot have a total shutdown. Still, we need to make a living. And what is the optimal level of, different level of policy? What kind of technology and social law need to be used when you have, less than 50, evidences or, 100 and things like that. So it's a very scientific procedure. So at the same time, the media need to have a very important role to educate the people and bring the voluntary cooperation from the citizen, wearing the mask, right, and everywhere, right? And so I think those are very important part, and Korea has been successful doing that. To create a new norm, I will say. I believe this is the opportunity for us to set the new normal. And, our regular living will be different and more of online. And we use these COVID-19 not only as a risk or disaster, but we will utilize this one as a turning point, like we had Korean War. Korean War actually was a great, crisis, but after we have a hope to rebuild. We never give up. And that is less than 50 years.
Okay, Pak Dadan, is it enough? Okay, then maybe another question. I have one question, Professor, regarding synchronization. You have mentioned about synchronization of GIS and IS and RIS. Is there any maybe national single window or maybe
Not a single window.
Yeah.
You need some kind of community or the form of the organization. Sometimes we call middle institution or middle organization, which is partly public, partly private, partly or even it can be private but doing public role to create kind of ecosystem. So something we call innovation center. So the Smart Cities Innovation Center, we actually try to locate such kind of innovation center within the campus, within the university. In digital economy, the role of the university are very important. Why? It's an open platform, it's a neutral, even though it's a private university, sometimes it's still doing public job, right? But it's a public university, still need to pursue, innovation, right? New knowledge. And so, culturally, university are the one that need to, run the innovation center well. And then, in that innovation center, not only doing R&D for academia, international, right, and having a partnership with the UNDP, World Bank, and GCF, and having those resources and connected with the local resources. And also, you have a partnership with the ministry and national level project are in, and also you have partner with the city and and the city mayor and governor as also they're promoting to create a job as a. Then you actually have a kind of melting pot or kind of module to match puzzle together. This is the way how you synchronize the national innovation system and global innovation system and regional innovation system. So what that means, the people who are working for the innovation for the Mataram still need to speak English well, and also still need to not only Bahasa, but also need to speak, also have a collaboration with World Bank and UNDP and USA. No, and then you need expert to do that in that kind of thing. This cannot happen in one day. Maybe many of the professors are working with the energy of 19-year-old or 20-year. It's possible, but traditionally that kind of capability built by long history. So we need some kind of educational system to run that one as a leader, and those leader, academia and public and government come get together and creating a team with a new, who has like a technology management, major, right? And and so and then let them to create that, and then that's the way to do that, and that's I believe one of the standard solution in the world.
Thank you, Professor. Is there any more question, maybe?
I will share we have also international conference, next week, 4-day row and 24 hours, a day, day around in the world. So I'll give you the YouTube channel, and then I hope you come and see. And also because almost our time difference at 2 hours, so you might be able to the mainstream, but it's called GSD, Green Smart Development Vision, and I will share with the Professor Deden and also Budi from Mataram and Agus, my friend, and then I hope you share that with your friend in this society.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Thank you. With the link in the chat box.
Okay, thank you everyone. I'm really happy to talk to you. I really love Indonesia. I've been in many parts of your, Jakarta and Bandung, Bali, yeah, and Lombok, which is my hometown also. But these days I cannot go there. But really, I look forward to being there soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Professor. Yeah. That was very nice.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah.
Bye. Selamat datang.
Yeah. See you.
See you.
I think we have completed all the plenary session. Then I would like to hand over the session, give back to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you very much for your attention and.
Okay, di unmute. Okay, thank you for the moderator. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the agenda we have presented to you this morning. As we have finished our opening ceremony and plenary session, coming up to the last session, we are going to have parallel session. For those who join the parallel session, please be noted that our session will be start at 1 o'clock. You can proceed to your presentation room as shown on the slide.
Belum, Mbak. Ya.